The fact that you have taken the time to make the decision to tap into this particular course, into the app in its entirety, is huge. So often as people, we will invest our time and money into the things that go on us, like clothes. We will invest into the things that we get into, like vehicles, what we drive. We will invest into different, destinations with vacations that we take to escape and get away. All those things are great. But rarely ever do we consistently make the decision to invest in the development of ourselves. And that's exactly what you're doing by engaging in this app with us. So you will never experience a time or an instance with us in which we do not honor that. Because it's so few and far in between in terms of the people that want to optimize their lives, we want to take that very seriously. And so with you coming into this course, we're going to meet you right there in the middle. And we're going to challenge you, and we're going to be accountability partners for you. And again, just to reiterate, coaching takes you from being functional to optimal. So many of us are just going through life, whether it's in zombie mode or just under the notion that life is just going to be what it is. When in all actuality, we actually disagree with that. And we say, no, you can optimize your life. With having the appropriate knowledge around certain areas and getting the coaching that you need, life is full of opportunities for us to continue to progress. Perfection is never the goal, but progression is. So with that being said, let's jump right into overcoming imposter syndrome. So this one in particular, we wanted to make sure that we tackle this because so many people deal with this, and they not only deal with it, but they deal with it silently. When in all actuality, the stigma around it needs to disappear. We need to destigmatize it because we understand that people are not reaching their goals and people are not getting the best out of themselves because of this little known thing called imposter syndrome. So we're going to embark on what it means to understand imposter syndrome, how it plays into our daily lives, how it keeps us from reaching our goals, but then also how do we use it for our own benefit? And then in terms of how people deal with it, there are 5 distinct coping mechanisms that people use to overcome imposter syndrome that may not necessarily be healthy and sustainable. And we're going to get into what those 5 things are. So let's just jump straight into it. When we talk about imposter syndrome, let's first start with aligning on what the definition of imposter syndrome is. And so imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern where individuals doubt their accomplishments and have a persistent fear of being exposed as a fraud. So I'm going to repeat that again. A psychological pattern where individuals doubt their accomplishments and have a persistent fear of being exposed as a fraud. So as a coach, I'm never going to let a definition slide by without really drilling into what it means specifically and also contextually, so that as we go further in this coaching journey, we'll be able to coach you on the different points of it that you would have received at the very beginning, like you're about to now. So first of all, the first thing that sticks out is it is a pattern. Patterns are cyclical. Patterns are things that continue to rotate and revolve like a revolving door, right? Same thing, but if you're expecting a different result, that's the definition of insanity. Patterns are things where you expect the same result over and over again. Now, this cyclical pattern is a pattern of you doubting your accomplishments and doubting your abilities to perform at a certain level that the situation or circumstance calls for. So now you have a pattern of ruminating thoughts that are doubting proof and evidence of what you have done successfully in the past or currently in your endeavor. And it's also a persistent fear. So if somebody has persistence, they're continuing to persist towards a particular thing, right? There's a will, there's a drive there. So there's this drive of fear that you will be exposed as a fraud. Fraud being somebody that is not who they really say that they are. Fraud meaning somebody who could, you can even throw manipulation in there as a side branch of what comes with a fraud. Somebody that does not have the qualifications that they may initially present with. Somebody that in the long run, those around them cannot trust. Those are very, very sharp words. They're very, very powerful words used to describe that. And that is what's going on up in here, your head. We call these cognitive conversations. We will continue to do a series on cognitive conversations, the different things that we tell ourselves, that we sit on, that we deal with, and inevitably it affects how we communicate in the outward world. But this cognitive conversation that we're talking about today is imposter syndrome. So this was actually coined back in 1978 by Pauline Clance and Suzanne Imes.